Boom and boom. There we go. We are live with YouTube. Let me get the book map back up here. What's up? Good morning. Good morning. I did change the intro music. Yeah, I'm just trying to change it up a little bit. Obviously no swing positions for me. I closed out my put from last week, which I could have made a little bit more, but I'm happy I did. What else we got? 50-20, 50-40, 50-05 here on ES. And if you did not already catch this, look at this cat down here. Booyah, Kasha. 4960 of 2,000 orders. And then just below it, 646 orders. We have roughly 2,600 orders sitting right here at this 10-point block between 4960 and 4950. That will fill this week. I'll go ahead and spoil the fun for you. That will fill this week. I just don't know when. We have a little bit of red coming off again. This is now the 1, 2, 3, 4th time we've rejected this particular level throughout the evening. And we'll see how this thing rolls. Right now on IV, today's April 22nd, IV is still high. Not as high as last Friday. It's still running about 25, 26%. We have the VIX still holding 18, so the VIX has not rolled off at all relative to what we're normally used to seeing right now. Quan Tower had an update, so I had to do an update real quick, and I need to redo that. Okay. Just give me a couple of potatoes here. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend. It's been extraordinary for me. Although I'm kind of PO'd. I put out some new raspberry bushes yesterday, and today, of course, guess what happens this morning? Another frost. And it's supposed to be 78 degrees today, yet we had a frost. It's fantastic. I love spring. Bear with me. And we're good to go. Okay, so a little bottom wick back and forth here. We had another sell of 500 big lot order. And we have a little bit of red green now here, 5,005. Not to challenge you, but if you're so sure if it'll fill, why not buy another put dated Friday or sometime next week? Because when you're talking about short dated trading, timing is everything. timing is everything. Now, trust me, I am looking to leg back into another long-dated put, but timing is everything. So I need to see another confirmation here because, yes, although my gut tells me that, I need to see the confirmation and make sure that we are not going to completely recover. The problem with my overall thesis, yeah, by the way, you're not challenging me at all. That's a legitimate question. The problem with my overall thesis is that we fell so far so fast, especially on Friday, that theoretically could have been far enough to fulfill my target. I was looking for a little bit lower into the upper 4800s, but we got down so far so fast without any kind of buying that we could have filled that thesis. Now, I don't think that's the case. I still think we're going to have another leg down after the bulls kick in. It could be into next week or into this week into next week. I don't know. But yeah, that is the problem. So I definitely need to see, make sure that we're not going to completely just blast on up before I start legging back into a put. Because what's worse than closing out a put a little bit early on Friday is getting back into a put because I'm FOMOing and then we get bounced and now I'm losing on a put. And that's never fun for anybody. So, all right, we've got 50-40. We have another buy here on ES, still buying the bottom here. We have a couple of icebergs coming on and tuned to the 1800, which is quite robust. We have very large amount of liquidity blocks on Bookmap. So this is a large liquidity environment for a Monday. In fact, even below the big cat here, we have 300 orders at 49.25. We have another 300 at 4,900, and then on down. So we definitely have a lot of liquidity on the books here. And ES is filling back off right now. And we'll see what we can do. Let's see. Apple's going up. NVIDIA is top wicking. We have a spoof down to 49.70. A little come on off. And yeah, 50.22. Statistically, I've nailed my downside thesis greater than 90%, if not 100%, if you count the times I didn't hang out long enough to swings. Upside, I probably have a 40% win rate despite you nailing it every time. I drop my position size 1/4, 1/2, use the downside. What things would you focus on to help achieve a greater upside determination and win rate? Oh man, that is the question. That is the question. Let me get through the morning here and I'll get back with you. I want to get a capture on this hand, and don't let me forget about your question. Let me get through the first morning and we'll talk about that. 5,005 here, 2,200 negative CVD on ES. NASDAQ is green CVD. Taking a look across the market, we've got a lot of green. Tesla is down 4.8%, down breaking below 140 into 139. Tesla's getting destroyed because they finally took out support. Apple's still holding 165. NVIDIA is green after getting pummeled on Friday, down 10%. And we have a market that's about 50-50 red-green in turn of breadth. XLF is green to 0.27. Bonds are down again, getting smoked, down to 88. Or because I have to recall all these Cybertrucks. Yeah, I don't think in terms of news. Y'all know me. I don't think news moves the market unless it's something extravagant. And Tesla's been known for recalls consistently throughout their entire product line. So I mean, I don't think it's because of that. I think it's because they broke support. Liquidity flow. Today feels weird with SPY where there's usually a buy up to liquidity before volatility kicks in. Today they're selling right off the open. A little bit. They're still holding supports though. Like, you know, with me, we did not have an extravagant pre-market. We had a balanced pre-market with the bulls slightly winning out. So I'm not, I wasn't necessarily looking for the typical dump that we have been getting getting the past couple of days because of the nature of the pre-market. If they were to smoke that liquidity book back up to the upside, I would definitely look for more shorts right at the open. But now I'm just kind of letting the day shake out here. What do you think of LEAP PCSs? I personally don't think that's a good idea. I don't like playing writing credit on any individual names anyway, unless you are selling covered calls unless you're doing cash secured puts, covered calls, stuff like that. Just because if you have a holding and you don't mind taking assignment, that's the only way I would personally recommend selling premium on individual names. That's just me though. Especially now go one step further, Tesla is inherently volatile, and I wouldn't do that. I mean, we don't know how far Tesla can fall. Tesla was the fanboy of 2022, and spoiler alert, I'm looking for the same price action on NVIDIA. after all this is all said and done. NVIDIA is far too overvalued. They're not supportive by fundamentals whatsoever, and it's strictly option chain euphoria. We saw the same thing with Tesla. Nobody ever thought Tesla would fall. Now look at them, and I think NVIDIA will do the same thing in another probably 18 to 24 months. So we don't know how far Tesla's going to fall. And I wouldn't do that. All right, ES is holding right at 50.20 after bouncing off again at 50.20 on the money. Did you catch that short at open? No, I haven't taken a trade during the session yet. Not yet. I want to let this thing kick and scream and do its thing. We have liquidity coming on at 17,200. NVIDIA and Apple are both climbing. Russell's getting a little heavy right here, down to 1960. XLF gapped up, but is giving some back. Bonds are flat. VIX is flat to 18. Let's take a look at a little bit more red here. Down to 17,200. Another top wick on NASDAQ here. 5-0 still holding that support. All right, Dow is dropping nicely. So is Russell still falling. We've got a little bit of bearish follow through here coming down. Not a lot of movement on in NASDAQ. And ES is about to give out support. Next on deck, if they give this out, down into the 5016 area. But NASDAQ is going up while ES, Dow, and Russell are dropping. So definitely a divergence here between tech and the other names so far. We'll see how they can move it. VIX is 1822. So the overarching theme for me on the VIX is watching this volatility and seeing if they're going to roll it off or spike it. They have not been able to roll it off. They're holding it at 18, which tells me there's still no appetite for the market to take off any kind of protection. If you want the big blast off that so many people are looking to BTD, we need the VIX to roll off. You need the positions for protection to roll off the books. And they have not been able to do that yet. NASDAQ is going back up. 18,295, 296. And it looks like they're going to sweep the highs. Any reason why TLT has a pre-market candle at open with a range of 88, 89? Would that be a liquidity grab? No. There's just not a lot of movement right now in the bonds. We had a lot of shake and bacon here on the bonds the past couple of weeks. And going into FOMC, which is going to be a heavy event for the Treasury market, I'd expect them to make a move in the upcoming week, 5 to 10 sessions. So NASDAQ is about to put another high in while Dow, Russell, and ES are falling. Typical NASDAQ fashion. NVIDIA is coming back up to about to put another high in. We have 17,250, 200, so on and so forth. Taking a look at ES here, we have big liquidity all over the place, so I'm curious to see where they're going to move all this stuff. Russell's getting smoked all the way down, and I think they held, what, 1960? Right there. Another top wick. If ES were to give out this level, look for about 50-15 or so. Apple, and it comes NVIDIA down. There's a nice top wick. ES just filled liquidity. So if NVIDIA got to get shaken and bacon here. Overall, though, it's really just a waiting game to see how will buyers react. Every single weak attempt by the buyers has been slapped down the past couple of weeks, and then the one big attempt, which was on Friday morning, was slapped down. So the overarching theme here is how will the buyers react to all of this momentum that we've had on the past 5 to 10 sessions. Obviously, we're on a downtrend. I don't think we're done with the downtrend. We just have to see how hard the buyers are gonna kick and scream here. What's up, Pastor? Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Tier 2. Appreciate you joining. Hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions. This coming Sunday will be our next Zoom call. So April 28th will be our next Zoom call. Remove the liquidity at 50/40 on ES. Me as well. Me as well. Nasdaq bounced right at last month's low. It's funny how the market decides when to pump the brakes. Yep, all about liquidity, baby. How do you spot your levels and decide which ones are stronger than others? Participation. Obviously, from a forward-looking perspective, there's going to be levels where there's no way to know where they're going to bounce, but I have to go off of what I can use, which is activity. The volume profile is a huge part of my trading. It's the only indicator that's based on actual data, not calculation, not momentum, not anything. It's literally, this is where the market traded, period. So, which is why it should be a foundation in your system. So, for me, it's where the market has actually participated, where it's bounced, where it's rejected, where it's consolidated, and at what price do we have the greatest participation at, which is volume profile. And that's where I really check out the particular levels. Now I have a couple of different ways I monitor the volume profile. I've got the fixed, the session, and the variable. The variable I don't use all that often, only when I need to figure out a particular time frame. I use the session and the fixed every day. The fixed is going to that look back of 500. That's what I track the weekly, daily, monthly, 4 hour. And the session is what I use to figure out the prior session's POST based on the 4 hour chart every single day. Yeah, I use Lux Algo's. Lux Algo's fixed volume profile, which I'll show you. Lux Algo, and then the session volume profile. Right here. Shut it down in pre-markets and grab them more. Man, y'all are killing it. I love it. I love it. Very consistent traders. I love it. Buy 1,000 large block order on ES. Can you make an entire video on how you use the volume profile to plot your levels? And how do you know how to plot dominant levels video? Yeah. Sure, I can do another one. Yeah. Is the bookmap webinar on Wednesday or tier 2 for tier 2 promoters? No, that's for everybody. So the bookmap webinar, by the way, we have Bookmaps doing their weekly or their 1 week webinar series, which they bring on traders to do specific stuff, and I'm part of that on Wednesday. So that's open for everybody. That'll be hosted on their YouTube channel. All right, what do we have? So we have a $2.3 million outside the money put above the ask purchase today at the open on SPY. Still hanging out right here. NVIDIA is blasting off new high. We have 50/30 liquidity on ES. NASDAQ, I need to go look at the options data, has right here at 1713. Overall, though, pretty muted open. So kind of just chilling. We have a positive market net flow, which is so far is the first time we've seen that in the past week. The market flow has been incredibly negative. the past week or so, every single time. So, and it's been indicative of a lot of selling. We'll see what happens today. Let's go and look at the GEX. What do we have for the GEX today? Very, very spread GEX. We don't really have any one level that's shining out of another. We've got a little bit at 50.20 and down to 49.70, but that's it. It's pretty peanut butter spread out there. NVIDIA, funnily enough, has the highest negative flow out of everybody, even though they are slamming green this morning so far. Let's see what else we got. Not really a lot of movement here. Another bounce on NASDAQ heading higher. ES is still range bound. NVIDIA is flying back up. Yeah, with a 10% drop like that, yeah, they're probably going to bounce that thing back up. That was a significant move. And now they're kind of dropping some of it. They're up 4% already. NVIDIA is going nuts. Russell is rebounding completely. Dow is not. VIX is rolling off a little bit. Let's take a look. That's a new pre-market high. Let's see if they reject the channel that they've been following all night long. NASDAQ has a channel that's about 17,337 is approximately the top of the channel. Let's see if they reject it. NVIDIA is squeezing hard. Amazon, Google, Meta all up over 1%. AVGO's up. Tesla has already recouped half their losses. And Apple hasn't started to pick up yet. But if they do, I'd expect a lot of green there. $17,328. Trying to understand the order book better. I know the market seeks out liquidity, but let's say there's a bunch of orders up. That would indicate a possible move up, but those aren't big. Those aren't going to be sellers, and that bearish. Well, I mean, you can anticipate that being supply, but I try not to think about it as that because that's not really our job. It's about just knowing where the market wants to participate, and it's because for every buy there's going to be a sell, for every sell there's going to be a buy. There's both sides of the book. So I just try to look at that as like market food. You know, like when you throw fish food on the top of the water at the lake, and the fish just kill that thing. It's boom, 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 boom. It's kind of like that. It's participation in the market. And when I see an order book that's stacked one way or the other, I can anticipate with some degree of accuracy that the market is going to start moving in that direction. Now, whether or not we know it's going to reject at that level, we don't know that. And there's a rejection again off of that top channel. So, is this really anticipating where the market's going to go to and then seeing what happens when we get to those levels? Now, if we have a big skew like a ladder that's higher, 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 like if we have a level at, let's say, 350, 375, 400, 425, just all the way up and nothing lower, then I'm going to anticipate the market beginning to eat through that liquidity. Now, it could reject and then go up higher and then reject and go up higher, that type of thing, like in an upwards channel. But it's just really depending on how much is weighted, skewed to the one side or the other, and are those active managed positions. But yeah, I mean, you can't assume that those are sell orders because they're higher. But then again, we don't know that for sure because somebody could be buying into the trend. You're welcome. I'm surprised GAT didn't fill the night. Yeah. What's up, Dan? Nice trade. Thoughts on fair value gap strategy? You're talking about ICT stuff. So Talking about the fair value gaps, all that is a derivative of the auction theory. That's all it is. It's just marketing for auction theory of understanding where the market creates gaps and imbalances, which I'm a fan of. If you want to follow his theory, which is anything. So when you ever see when you ever see a big move, an imbalance is created on the market. So if you see a big trend, there's an imbalance created, and the auction theory suggests that that gap eventually has to be filled. There's an imbalance on the order book that creates a suction, and you need to be able to fill that imbalance. The longer time frame gaps are going to be more substantial than the short time frame gaps. The problem with that, and the big issue I see with that, is that even when you're trying to scalp these gaps, you don't know which one's going to be filled, which one's going to hold. It's going to blow right through it. You don't know that stuff. The longer dated stuff, absolutely. I mean, I follow fair value gap theory on the longer time frame stuff. I don't call it that. I follow imbalances. So I create levels where we have big flows, and on the big time frames is where I want to look for pivots. But the shorter time frame stuff, just like everything else on the shorter time frame, you just don't know when it's going to hold, when it's going to blow through, when it's not. So you don't know. Yeah. So yeah, he's a clown. I don't really want to get into that, but a little ridiculous. Little story of an oversizing and hot streaks. Over the weekend, there was another trading Discord led by some guy, and he does a lot of long-term ratio spreads and some wheeling. Recently, he quit his job and got deep into NASDAQ futures, and he was killing it. Won $30,000 after another. He started getting hot water with futures, had some close calls. He kept saying he was done with business side and day trading. Well, open up my YouTube, he just posted a video. He lost all of his gains, $400,000 in 3 days. Yep. I'm telling you, man, it's easy for people to make money when the market is just going up and up and up and up and up. But they don't know how to play pullbacks. They don't know how to read volume. They just keep on buy the dip, baby. Market always goes up. And you wipe out. If this little bitty 3% move smoked him, then he doesn't need. It's just he doesn't really know much a lot about trading. If a little bitty pullback like this smokes you, then I'm sorry. It just shows that you don't know how to read volume and price action. Is it blatant of a distribution as I've seen. Subscribe to my service, $300 a month, and be happy to teach you support and resistance. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Do I enter mid candle or wait for candles to close? I prefer to wait for candles to close. But I can't say I always wait for candles to close. Sometimes I won't. But that's the theory. Can I share the settings? Yeah, give me a minute. It'll take me a minute. But yeah. NASDAQ still holding 17,315. Still have liquidity up to 50.40, 50.35 here. Implied earnings are 5.6% this quarter. 2.48% Q move. Interesting. Man, boring session so far. I'm going to start throwing on the morning high and low here. So far, we've got the low at 50.1925. And we've got the high at 50.3275. So we're dealing with about 14-point range or so. A lot of sleepless nights for the poor guy. I have no sympathy for him. I'm sorry, I don't. You play with fire, you're going to get burned. And if you're making 30K a day on Nasdaq, you either have a $300 million account, or you are grossly overpositioning. So I mean, what do you expect? I have no sympathy for him. Been there, done that. It's the only way you got to learn. Nasdaq high is 17,331.50. Ooh, look at this little red. What is that? 17,331.50. And then the low is 264. Every single time I've gotten smoked is because I've used too big position sizing. And I know it. How often do you see a large streamer sell bias break in a flat consolidation area equal reversal? Well, I don't know if it'll lead to a reversal or not. That's not a metric I track. It's just all about momentum. And it depends on where we're going to go and where the iceberg is placed and how big it is, that type of thing. So I don't know. But for this example, we had a pretty robust iceberg come on to the tune of about 1,800 orders right at the bell. We've got a 231 fill now, and that's about it. But that's another healthy rejection, about a 50-pointer on NASDAQ there, dropping back off. And once again, we rejected the top of the channel. It's beautiful stuff. We've just been following this channel since settlement open, and that was yet again another rejection off of it. So one of those things, man. Trend lines work when they work, but they don't when they don't. I scalped an SPX call once I saw it bounce from the bottom. I'm up 35%. Should I call it a day or switch to SPY? That's up to you, man. You know, follow your rules. Depending on how many trades you've taken, have you hit your daily goal, etc. Yeah, but he needs to learn. He needs to learn. Otherwise, I mean, that's how you learn in the market. You know, you got to get your hand slapped. It's like you don't know not to stick a fork in the plug in the wall until he shocks you, and you do it once. And like, oh, maybe I shouldn't stick a fork in the wall in the plug. That's how you learn. My daily goal was a small gain in my account, which I got, so I'll switch to paper trading. There you go. Beautiful. Looking at the VIX, how far would it need to come off to look like a buyer's day? Well, it's not necessarily any one movement. It's just the nature of how it moves. You know, if they continue that kill the VIX type of environment, which they're beginning to set that up, that's where I'll be looking for. Overall, if we break under about 17 and a half and start to have these waterfall candles, I'll look for a nice little 100-pointer on ES, whether it takes 2 or 3 days. But the overarching thing for me with the VIX is knowing what the VIX is that are they going to roll the positions off. Now, they've already killed us over from 21 down to 18, but we've held 18 since Friday morning or Friday afternoon. So if they continue that every red on VIX, I know what they're doing. That's just they're going to roll off their positioning, which is usually a tailwind for the markets, and up we go. And that's what I'll be looking for. Do you recommend watching Bookmap on SPY or ES? Seems like they have relatively balanced order books most of the time. I haven't been subscribed to futures data yet. I personally like ES for monitoring liquidity flow. SPY can be a little bit crazy. There's a whole bunch of liquidity. Now, yeah, you can adjust your filters to figure out where the big boys are positioned. But I personally like watching ES. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer to that. I think you're going to get consistent data across both of them. I mean, you're talking about the most heavily traded index in the world. So you could do either one. I personally just like to do ES. Another top wick. Another top wick. Keep an eye on old NVIDIA. How's house staging coming along? Haven't put the market on the house, or market on the house. Haven't put the house on the market yet, but we're getting close. Getting close. I'm not looking forward to it. I hate going through the process of selling houses. It's terrible. Surprised they're selling at all. I thought about it. We went through the thought of renting it out or selling it. And the reason why I'm selling it, I made the decision to sell it, is because of the massive amount of equity in the home. So I could do a lot better with the equity in the home than I can. I'll make more with the money that I can get out of the equity than I can renting it out for this particular circumstance. So, not to mention for me, our home is not necessarily in a great school zone. So, I don't really want to rent here. My whole thing is I want to buy a home in a good school zone. You're putting the equity into your investing account? No. I'll put some of it into my long-term account, but most of it is going to go back inside real estate or some other venture. But yeah, me and Mrs. Wum talked about that, and we came to the conclusion that our equity is better used elsewhere rather than renting out. Do I think Intel is a good buy? Long term, yeah, I do. I do think it's a good buy. Yeah, that too, Mr. 50. Yeah. Plus, the whole thing is literally the school systems. If we were in a school system, I may actually consider renting it out, but the school systems are terrible where our home is. So our kids don't go to the schools where our home is located, and they're terrible. I bought a new house in September last year. This is the first time I ever had to pay for movers. Pricey, but it's much headache. Oh yeah, yeah, it's well worth the money. So, do you pay taxes on gains on your primary residence? Up to a certain dollar amount, no. Any interest in commercial property? Absolutely. In fact, that's my next thing. My 10-year plan is to get into commercial real estate. That's where big boy money is. Big boy money. I never thought I'd actually be able to do it until 2020. 2020 happened, and I was like, oh, this may be able to happen. Even though I'm still not where big boy money is yet, but it's getting closer. I want to own some small apartment complexes. Need the prices come down. Yeah, me too. In fact, I actually had a listing come across my desk for a 9-unit apartment complex in Kentucky, and they wanted $675,000 for it, and it needed a lot of work. Hey, big red candle coming off. We're still overall range bound here, playing the morning channel, the morning trend line. But other than that, not much. Commercial real estate is nuts. Had a large commercial real estate firm as a client. There were $2 billion company that paid zeros in taxes. 288. Doji. Let me go to the 50. I'm going to go to my multiple time frame analysis chart and kind of hang out here. The huge benefit of this multiple time frame analysis chart, the 30, 15, 5, is this crap right here. Yeah, it's great on trends, but sitting here at this consolidation will help you know when we're getting ready to move on the 30, 15, 5. What looks like chop on the 5 could be a bit of an accumulation or distribution on the 30. And that's what I want to do. If you're tier 2, I posted the link for the chart I use in the channel. It should help you out. I can't figure this out. It's acting like it wants to sell some more, but I'm guessing balanced. Yeah, you hit it on the head, Dan. As of right now, this is balanced. And we have to hold off until the book wants to go imbalance again, which is just a fancy word for trend. I don't even know if the word imbalance is fancy, but it's fancier than trend. So let's just wait until the book wants to become imbalanced again. Let's wait for reactions to shift out of the range. If you want to scalp the high and low of the range, go for it. I personally do not want to do that right now. Right now, ES is glued to the morning high. In fact, we put another morning high in technically, so I have to shift this baby up to 50.31.75. No, 50.34.25, sorry. We have a pretty decent range. You know, we're talking about nearly a 20-point range on ES. That's not terrible. That's pretty good. So we just have to see if they're going to play the outsiders of the range or blast off. Have I ever heard of a halal mortgage? Canada promotes them in the 2024 budget with plans to roll them out. I have not heard of that. I've heard of halal food. Large red on ES. Coming off. Let's see if NASDAQ wants to finally break this baby down. Linda Raschke is a remarkable trader. Got super sick. Then after a couple years of fighting back, she recovers her health and makes $3 million in the market. Yep. She is a phenomenal trader. Nvidia is getting smoked at the moment. Muslims aren't allowed to be charged interest or pay interest on a loan. Well, that's hardly fair. So what if you identify? What if you change your? How do you stop fraud with that from a strictly financial standpoint? How do you stop fraud? And what if tomorrow I go down to the go down and switch to Muslim? Just because I don't want to pay more, pay interest. What are your thoughts on TLT calls? Any allocation for long-term port purchase with a limit buy of 84 and 82? Thinking that's a good question. That's a good question. For me, my long-term thesis is that TLT is going to rocket. I think the long bond trade is going to be one of the best trades of the next 18 months. I just don't know when it's going to occur. I mean, I don't know how low TLT is going to go. If they push off rate cuts until 2025, I think TLT could breach 80 and even go into the lower 70s. So I don't know when TLT will actually roll, or the other bond products, not just TLT. So I do think long TLT calls is the way to go, but you have to be patient. The lower we get into the 80s, the more likely I am to start building into some long TLT positions, whether it be TLT itself or TLT calls. I got stung in the face by a bee this weekend. My face is swollen. Interesting. Been dollar cost averaging TLT shares since last summer on my Roth. Cost base is 89. Nice. I think that's a great trade, Umi. I think it's a fantastic trade. Well, this is fun. This is fun. VIX is 1779. I think a good way to go, I may consider putting on a far outside PCS with full intention to flip it back short delta by the end of the week, and then eventually close out the short position. I think that's the position I'm going to go with. Just alter my aggressiveness on the overall theta and which way I want to collect. I would probably do some sort of ratio like that, a ratio PCS, and then switch it over into short delta, and then eventually close all short premium altogether when we start rolling. I think that's the way to go. It'll allow me to take some trades. It'll allow me to be very low risk and still speculate on direction. Why do you want to counter me, Nano? Don't you know I'm a Ford shareholder? Do you know how many shares of Ford I actually own? I've been accumulating for years. I have 3 shares. I have 3 shares of Ford. And they were all free from Webull. Yeah, they were all free from Webull. ES is smack dab in the middle of the range. Apple is at low of the day. Nvidia is up. What Microsoft is doing. Be aware we have earnings reports this week. We kick off earnings season. Microsoft, Google, Meta, and Tesla are this week. So be ready. If you're a premium writer, get your IV tools ready. What's up? Been on a break. Looks like things are chopping. What's up, Buy Research Frontiers? Should I buy Research Frontiers? Just in time to possibly save the day. Yeah, buddy. Or ruin the day. Meta is one of the last holdouts. Meta hardly had any red last week. They are one of the last holdouts on the charts here. Nvidia smoked it. Everything pretty much else smoked it. Obviously, Apple smoked it. But Meta is up there like, what are you guys doing way down there? Come on, everyone, hang up here with me. They factor in the cost of the shares. Ah, that's El Terrible. ES still falling off here. NASDAQ is still chillaxing on down. They're putting on more liquidity at 17,200. And we're going to try to break it on down here. 17,263. On the multiple time frame analysis here, what do I have? I've got a hammer candle, first candle. This secondary candle is an inverse hammer to lead us right back up to 50.27 on ES. The 5-minute I have nothing but chop. The 15-minute I've got doji, inverse, and doji. And we're still kind of barely pointing down here, but very slow action. IV on the options chain right now is about 25%, so still slightly elevated, but cheaper than what it was last week. Let's take a look at the options data. We have nothing but call selling and put selling. So we don't really have a lot of buying. It's just more of a theta market right now. Nvidia is the strongest bull flow today. I don't know what I was reading last time. SPY has a GEX of 498. SPX has GEX all over the place. but right about 49.60 for your SPX is our current GEX. Although it's not extravagant, it's just a little bit higher than others. Market flow is neutral, so everything points to a range day today so far. I'm driving a 22-year-old Ranger, and I don't want to touch this market. Ford Ranger. I like it. Love Ford Rangers. I read some anti-child sex trafficking nonprofit and said their biggest problem is Meta. I believe it. I believe it. Still dropping back off here. Still playing the trend. Let's see what the NASDAQ trend line is. We just blasted through the bottom of the trend, but they're still holding it. So if you're short and you're playing trend line to trend line, then be ready for right here. If they bounce back up and hold above it, then I would either set your stops lower on your short or possibly look to enter long on confirmation. Let's see what this 5-minute candle can do here, and we'll confirm on the 15. Still holding below trend, still holding below support. We're still pinned between R1 and S1. Liquidity down to 17,200. Are you able to briefly share about your 15-minute strategy with engulfing candles you use for day trading? Yes. So when I'm waiting for confirmation on the 15-minute charts, assuming that you're doing some short-dated trading because you're using the 15-minute, is that when the candle... Now, there's a couple of different ways you can play stuff. As aggressive or as conservative as you want to be. We're still holding below trend. We close below trend going for support. It really depends on how aggressive you want to be. If you want to be aggressive, you wait until the price action takes out the prior high and low of the high and low of the prior candle. So if you want to short, you wait for it to take out the prior low. If you want to be conservative, you wait for it to close below those levels to assume that you fully absorb that price action. And we're still dropping off here. And yeah, so no long signals just yet. Still short signals for now. We've taken out prior support and the trend line and coming on down. So continue to roll stops down. Do your thing. Snap your fingers. Do the step. I can do it all by yourself. Right here as 17,234 is prior support. Again, so just going support to support. And keep on riding, baby. Next on deck is going to be roughly 17,201. But so far, the 5 and 15 and 30 are all pointing towards down. Weekly down, but down. Nothing crazy. We're just taking out supports. We have some nice top wicks that are holding. We have no bottom wicks. We have sustained weak bear volume here. We have liquidity down to 17,200. So at this moment, I don't see any buy signals just yet. I'm just riding the bear momentum down. Down. We're coming up on 17,200, which will most likely be the next support. We have heavy bounce there. We have the settlement open. We have a bounce there at 8:45 p.m., which is 20:45. And then we have liquidity at 17,200. I sold my F-250 yesterday. Really like using CarMax for that. Easy to get rid of old cars. There you go. There you go. Still coming off red engulfing candle. Moving on down, and let's look for 200 here on NASDAQ. Beautiful stuff. Still going. Still going. $235 down to 200. Wait for this green candle to fail, and we'll look for attack on 200 liquidity. So we have yet another green session leading to a red morning. And we're still coming off here. So we still have large red engulfing on ES and NASDAQ. The next on deck is going to be roughly 17,200. I'd fully expect 17,200 here. So keep on riding it down. Just move your stops down. We've got NVIDIA down. We've got Apple. We've got VIX is bouncing. We've got red across the whole indexes. We got red Russell. I got red Dow. And dropping. Nice little red move here. SPY's going to 300 today. Yeah, buddy. There we go. Still plowing down here. Keep on riding it. 100 points per contract. 17,223 down to 200. And watch out for 200 here. So we just got down to 212, which is 12 points off. We need 17,200 coming on down. 17,223. We have one more push down. If we were to fill the gap, we get 179. I would look for 200 first. I'd look for 200 first. Nothing but sell pressure here. Nothing but sell pressure here. If you are short looking for 200, just roll your stops down, give it enough breathing room to bounce and still not get you out. You got to be willing to give back some profit to catch a trend. So I would set your stop roughly, at least about 230, and that'll give some good liquidity to bounce and then still allow you to shake and bake. But there's a 200. I didn't quite get there. We got 211. So there's their first bounce that's immediately failing. You don't want to get stopped out on that one bounce. That was only about a 12-point bounce. So on NASDAQ, you don't want to get stopped out right there on that one little green. Look what happens. Immediately fails, and now you can continue the trend without getting stopped out. Don't set your stops too tight. Is somebody robbing me? I keep hearing noises, and I'm the only one home. They don't know I'm strapped. Patience is a virtue. Did I take any trades on the way down? Yes, I did. I am I'm short from 319. Time to pull out the 9. Yep. It's the goes long puts he closed out, yeah. Am I strapped at the desk? Not at the desk, but I do have a weapon in this office. I have a weapon pretty much in every house every room in the house. $17,200. Still coming off, and the 232. Where are we going next? 17,200, and I'd look for gap fill at this point if we can get through 200. We still haven't got through 200 for here, so don't think about anything until we get through 200 first. Once we get through 200, then we can continue on down. There's a fill right there. We have a negative CVD dropping off. We have NASDAQ coming off. We have ES at 5,005. Oh, man. What a day, what a day, what a day. I've got my stop set 51216. Still dropping back over. Win 191. Holy crap. Now we blasted right through 200. I'm setting my stop right at, I'm going to set my stop at 21209. And I'm going to let that thing go. And it's still dropping. Holy crap-a-roni. Gap fill is 179. Good gosh. Did not expect this. I did not expect this. NVIDIA is 766. Still dropping. Still dropping there. We've got 191. Gap fill would be 175. Extraordinary. Extraordinary. Meta's down 1.12. Microsoft is now down 0.22. A lot of red creeping into the market. And nothing but sell pressure so far. On the multiple time frame analysis, I've got nothing but selling. So if you are looking to go long, right now you're either going to be front running or incorrect. So just wait. if you were looking for that. Right now, it's nothing but sell pressure. I'm seeing 30, 15, 5-minute all engulfing red. I've got big old top wick on the 30 on down engulfing. ES has support down another 7 points, which is 50.10. So NASDAQ looks like we'll resupport a lot faster than ES. Still coming off. If you want to catch a trend, you have to set your stops wide enough to catch the trend. You got to be willing to give back a little to make a lot. Here comes NASDAQ down even more. I'm looking for 17,172. Dropping back off. Holy crapperoni. Now we're going. There's another engulfing red. Did that fill gap? Not yet. ES has 5 more points until they fill gap. Dropping back off. We're right on top of S2. SPY needs a little bit more. Look at MetaJesus. Who's MetaJesus? Is that like some sort of name for like Gen Z's or Gen Alpha's Jesus or something? I like to have fun. 5016 down to 5005. Y'all are a lot more calm than Friday's YouTube stream. Friday's stream was fun. What made you go short right at 319? This, I'll show you. I posted this in the channel this morning. Where's the trend line at? Oh, either way, I'll draw it. This right here. When we broke down, entered. Right here. And all I did was set stops out and never caught it, just straight down. Down we go, and we're still plowing. SPY is there. Oh, man. What a day. It's been incredible April, man. Incredible April. That's what I'm saying, dude. You know, you got to stick with the game. You can have terrible months, terrible weeks, and then you come out swinging. I went from getting destroyed in March to I've hit my goal every day this month. It's been extraordinary. And then last week I hit my monthly goal on the swing put I took last week. So it's extraordinary. You just got to keep at it. Keep at it. And don't overposition yourself. There's the morning range. So that really hollowed out the morning range. Right there. So now the morning range is 17,182.25 on NASDAQ. Which brings us to, man, 150 point range. And ES right there at 5014. Right there. So we're now dealing with a 20 point range on ES. Beautiful stuff. My best month of my entire 3 years of trading. Nice, Jeff. What caused your success? I was able to pick up an extra shift at Wendy's this weekend, so I'm making good money this month. Good money. $50.18. Long-term contracts, buying and selling short-term contracts same day. Beautiful. I love it. Consistency is all about the three P's: position size, profit expectation, and patience. Another top wick there on ES. Beautiful stuff. What do we got? What we got? Let's see. Shutting down all the prop firms. I stopped out of my NASDAQ trade, so I'm closing out everything. And I'm going over to IBKR. Taking it nice and easy. In terms of investment, do you think this period is a good time to add SPY, VOO? It depends. If you're young, yeah. Doesn't matter. Don't even look at where the price is. Just add. For me personally, I'm not adding anything right now. I think we're going to put in a significant drawdown in the next 18 to 24 months, so I'm holding off. But you bet your butt, when I feel confident, I'm slapping the bid, baby. I'm slapping the bid every single month from here on out, once I make that decision. I'm just trying to be a little bit more selective with my entry point right here. And it could be a fool's errand. I could be making a wrong decision, but that's what I'm looking for. But do not follow me, and do not think, don't do what I'm doing. Especially if you're young. If you're like 18, 25 years old, screw it, who cares? Start buying. Start buying. Not much pushback from buyers in the 5-minute. Yep. So if this candle fails, I'd expect technical gap fill, which we haven't got yet. We bounce off this little 200 area yet, but we're not technically gap filled just yet on NASDAQ. They're trying to, and we've got liquidity down. You know, we've got momentum on down here. Now they're still holding this 200 area, but yeah. NVIDIA's still putting on some red candles. Apple's still putting on some red candles. They've got a little bit of shaking and baking here, 200, but not young anymore. What kind of prices SPY would you prefer to add? I don't know, man. I don't know. So for me, watching SPY, it's really all about environment for me. It's about just I need a confident environment. This market, maybe I'm incorrect in trying to look for something that's a little bit similar to what I'm used to, because this is like the past 3 years is completely different from what I've seen the past 10 years prior to that. This market is incredibly volatile. I'm seeing incredible draw ups and drawdowns and whipsaws and everything in between and everything else. So I'm looking for more of a stable environment on which I need to place my money, and this is certainly not it. Certainly not it. So, you're welcome. Now, in terms of prices, I don't know. I'm looking SPX somewhere in the 4,000, 4,800, 4,000, 3,800 range. Outside of that, I don't know. I don't know. And in my opinion, I don't even need to catch the bottom. I just don't want to buy up here. Any kind of decent drawdown that gets us anywhere in that area, and even if we continue to fall, whatever. I'll just wait 10 years and I'm good to go, G to G. So, just use it as a lesson learned, is that people are terrified of the market dropping. But remember 2008, everyone cashed out their 401ks and everything at the bottom of the market in 2008, and then within 10 years we were back up at new highs. So in my opinion, think of it as the worst case scenario. Either even the market falls 60% and you're scared. Well, here's the deal: you either the market either bounces and goes back up, or it doesn't matter anymore because the world's over. So never, if you already held it that low, your long-term position, why not just hold it out? Unless you're obviously at retirement age, do what you got to do. But if you're 20, 25 years old, 30 years old, Don't worry about it. Ain't no big deal. Market always goes back up. If you're of the age where when you stand up out of your desk, you go, ah, then you might need to worry about hedging and closing out some positions if the market starts to drop. Am I still shot? I don't think I'm shot. I was back testing. Why is it usually when we gap down on SPYQs on Mondays, especially 80% of the time, it ends up filling that gap till the previous close? I don't know. I will say, like another top wick here on the morning on the Monday opens where we have obviously after the weekend. When the market opens Monday, especially after a big move on the prior week like on Friday, the market's going to make some pretty decent moves to fill liquidity, whether it be up or down. That's why you got to be very careful playing the first 30 minutes on a Monday because the market's got a case in the Mondays, and they may not get that memo. And you got to be careful because they could whipsaw that thing all over the place. It's just the way the order book closes the following week. Dealing with 17,200 here on Nasdaq. Another big top wick on Nasdaq. Looks like they're trying to fill that gap down if this candle fails. Man, they bounced that again. So Nasdaq just filled down two major top wicks and bounced them both times. That's nasty action. Nasty action. No, I'm not my short. Yeah, I stopped out. I'm out. I do that and I'm only 23. Running and squatting heavy a week keeps me pretty sore. There you go. There you go. My legs are smoked right now from a leg workout. Holding 200. Best 2 months I've had in years. Position sizing, patience, and discipline. And the OM voice in the back of my head. Nice side gig. I love it, baby. Keep it up. Keep it up. Alrighty then. 17219. What's up, data guy? How you doing? Welcome to the community. Can't wait for FOMC if this volatility holds up. Well, that's a great point, side gig. What if they do not roll off volatility going into FOMC and we hold 17s, 18s, and then we have a volatility spike into FOMC? Now we're talking, 25, 28. Something changed with the Friday night drop. You usually sold together with ES. Now they don't care. TSC is still at all-time highs. DAX is still there too. Looks like they got lower liquidity on futures. Well, that right there was as close as you can get to a gap fill without doing it on Nasdaq. So maybe a little dump and pump back up. ES is. Did they fill it? They did not fill it. Did they fill it? No, they did not. So they still got another 10 points or so to fill that thing. So Dow's quietly found a 5-day base. I'm going to slow grow. I'm at halfway to profit. Beautiful. Might give Top Step a shot soon. Market just want a new market low, apparently. Apparently. .9 magnitude earthquake hits Taiwan. Isn't that the second big earthquake they've had? Jeez. Aren't they on like the Ring of Fire or something like that, or is that somewhere else? Do they really see clouds in Dubai? I heard they do. Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about that, but I heard they do. It does it with my Reapers. That's right. We do have these cloud-seeding missiles that we shoot in the atmosphere every now and then. Yeah. Project HARP. You know what's funny? We actually do have a project called HARP. We have that, and that's the acronym for it. It's kind of weird. It's like almost you know something. You ever had to fly the chemtrail planes? No, I'm not on that mission. I mean, no, there's no such thing. I'm still working on discipline and consistency, but I'm slowly getting there. There you go. That's all it takes, man. Discipline. Everyone focuses on what indicator do I need to add, what line do I need to draw, but they don't ask themselves, how much less of a jabroni do I need to be? That question right there will make you more money than any kind of line. Oh, never have Big Turbo. Never have. $17,212. Tennessee just passed a bill banning all chemtrails. It's kind of weird, isn't it? All right. Where are we going? I'm liking the early running moves done for the day. Nice. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Kind of back and forth here about 220. They defended the gap there. They forced that with Sam's, yeah. Yeah. All right, so what you said is that you are overwhelmingly more profitable on downside than upside. Is that correct? In a nutshell? Okay. Does that include the big run up from October until January? Because we pretty much stopped after January. Also, yes, I was psyched out most of the time and made money on small drawdowns. Okay. If you have a problem making money in a bull market, that's something you need to correct. That's something you need to correct, obviously. So for me, it's all about looking. I'll take it back a step. What really opened my eyes was Anna Coling's video I did with her last year about the big bounce in November of 2022 when Nvidia smacked over because Nvidia got destroyed for a long time, and then in 2022 they had the big bounce that led them into the rally. Buying that bounce is something I should have seen and I didn't see it at the time. Now I ended up entering into the rally, but I should have been longing that bounce, and that's the key there. So the biggest thing for me is don't counter the trend. Don't counter the trend on macro moves. If the market is uptrending, don't sit there and anticipate sell-offs. The market is, especially when we initiate a macro trend, the market is not going to completely reverse on a dime. So in an upward trending market, you only look for call positions. I wouldn't focus on, all right, well, I need a tip top here for a single red day out of 15 green days. And then on a macro bear trend, you look for put positions. Notice I haven't even taken a call aside from a scalp in about 8 weeks because all of the positions have been bearish. And before that, it was calls. So you play puts in a downside market, you play calls in an upside market. So if the market is starting to roar, you don't sit there and speculate on when the market's going to drop. You just simply look for call opportunities. I know that's easier said than done, but that's the basis on which you need to build your foundation. But it all starts with identifying on the daily, weekly, monthly charts when we get the big bounce or the big rejection or when the trend is actually beginning. Big red candles. $17,195. Getting dumpy. There we go. 17,186. Dropping back over. 187 still dropping there. Uh, 17,182 is going to be a double bounce right there so far. It's a nice little 50-point round over. Now, here's the deal, Kennedy. In the last month or so of that trend, like I don't blame you for being skeptical. The initiation of the trend was epic, but you just got to keep on playing it, you know. Still holding the 182. 2 red trades, and I'm in queue done for the day. Nice. Nice. Well done. Trade 1 can sell continuation, break a psychological number. V recovery. Oh, you mean only 2 red trades and like your 2 shorts, or 2 red trades and they were both unprofitable? New low of the day on NASDAQ, and that fills the gap. Still dropping. April 22nd. I already closed out my props. So, man, this thing is dumping now. Just continuation. This is a continuation I was seeing from Friday. Just not without the morning action. 17,170. Two red trades, sell off, continuation, break a whole number. So you shorted 17,200 and you long 17,217, is that right? Correct. Well, just make notes of what happened and come back tomorrow. 17,182 here. I think it's maybe because when I started trading as a bear market, so I became really good at identifying rejections and momentum shifts. So when the market went up, I lost my time looking for rejections and reversal long term. I never saw it until I did. Well, be better at it. Start being aware of market conditions. $17.19. ES is going for gap fill? I think so. ES is the next one. NASDAQ's already gap filled. ES is definitely trying at the moment. $17,178 here. Looks like we're coming to the home stretch of 75 hard. Yep. Got less than a month, baby. Less than a month. They just put on 17,150 liquidity. If this breaks, this is going to smoke it. Smoke it. Man, it's coming. 173. Apple's there. We've got 178. They're putting on 150. SPY's dropping too. Yeah, they're going for it. So we'll see what can happen here. Another top wick there, dropping back over. 173 down to 150 would be something. Would be something. Zero buying. Yeah, after the morning little pop there, they already filled the gap and going. And going. Let's get some extra gabagoo. My timing on conference calls needs to be better. I missed the initial drop because of a call and I needed to join another. That's all right. All right, 5-minute top wicks on ES. Or NASDAQ. We have 3 of them. Looking at ES, we have major top wick on the 30, major engulfing on the 5, major engulfing on the 15. So all selling here. Dropping back over, and there's another red push on NASDAQ. ES is still pushing on down to major liquidity with the increasing icebergs down to 50.10 and 5.05 liquidity. And just getting smoked. Something serious has happened with AMC stock. History is repeating itself. Yeah. It is Iron Will, yep. What would you recommend for someone who has taken a break from trading but planning to go back? I feel rather rusty, but I have been reading charts and VPA books in my free time looking for an approach to build back confidence. Should I continue options or try micros? Whatever you do, you start small. And if you are going to go back to options, you stay far away from short-dated options. Stay far away from short-dated options. You go with weekly swing trades, and then you could do some micro futures. The whole point is to get back your execution, to get a feel for execution. Stay away from short-dated options. We are holding below the weekly low or the monthly low. Oh, crap, the daily low on Nasdaq. Just grinding down slowly here. ES still wants to go for this 5,005. You're welcome. Is it helpful to look for shorter VIX timeframes, 3 to 5 minute? Not really. I don't really track the intricacies of the 5-minute chart on the VIX. For me, it's about the big movement on the VIX, the 30-minute candles. What's the overall direction of the VIX? I don't think there's any value on looking at every little 5-minute tick on the VIX. All right. Apple's still red. 502. Let's see if we can break through that iceberg. We have an iceberg right here, and it looks like we want to push 61. A very small iceberg, but still there regardless. Then we have the 50, 10, and 55, 5,005. Quick question. Should this morning range low break give us low volume test before going lower? Let me look. ES right here. All right, if you're looking for lower prices, you do not want to see a volume spike down here, which we haven't gotten yet. We don't have a high volume spike down in this area. So the sellers are still absorbing, which so far appears we're going to continue transacting lower into 5010 and 5005 right here. So let's see what happens. If you start getting bottom wicks with a volume spike, that's when you can start looking at speculating long. But right now, we don't have that yet. Very weak volume, which is sell side strength. Still holding. 5012. Favorite trading channel? What's up, Ski? Or Skid? Learning so much more than I thought I already knew. Subscribed to Bookmap last week. Love it. Let me know if you have any questions. We have our Bookmap seminar this week. What percent of your total portfolio are you in cash for your long-term holdings? Man, I'd have to look at exactly how much. Not much. Not much. I don't keep very much cash in there. The only cash I leave in my long-term port is strictly there to do any kind of hedging or long-term adjustment, which I will be doing in the upcoming future, just not yet. The more active I am in my long-term port, the more cash I've got in there. A little bit of red. Still coming off. Looks like ES is about to wipe this book or the iceberg and then come down to 5010 right here. We have a negative CVD, although barely. Now they have wiped that thing down all the way into neutral and then now red. And they're sticking to this, so I'd expect them to wipe out this 5010. Apple new low of the day. It is now 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock on the dot. This journal my trades. Time to work on the ministry stuff. Yeah, buddy. I'm glad I have some good ministry. When I have bad days, I get filled up with a successful full-time job. I do not have an edge. Yeah, you do, dude. How many green days have you had? You can't let one red day throw you off. You can make the Hall of Fame in baseball by batting 300. That means you fail 7 out of 10 times and you're a Hall of Famer. So you can't let one red day think you don't have an edge. You'd had a great month. You just said Friday. You said you've had a lot of green days in a row. Well, something you're doing is working. It happens. Have you seen my baseball? You too, Pastor. Have a good day. Trying to get down in this area. Trying to. ES wants this 50-10. They want it. Do you think FTSE is a macro range bound or upside? I'll have to take a look. Let me take a look here for a sec. Let me take a look. Coming off. There we go. There's a little movement. Slow, but there. They are in a broadening formation since March 22nd, which is a sign of volatility. I don't get it, Yacht Flyer. Like, I think I've said at least 50 times, don't post your dollar amounts, and you still do it. Like, I don't get it. Like, what's the deal? Like, I don't understand. Like, I just don't get it. I thought we were supposed to be adults here. Like, are we that desperate for attention that we have to post our dollar amounts over and over and over again? Like, I don't get it. It's just aggravating, man. I've been dealing with that crap for a while. Anyway, here you go, Dan. Or not Dan, Kit. So right here, what we're getting is a broadening formation. Broadening formation is a sign that there's getting ready to be a breakout move. So that's building volatility. An expanding range is a better way to do it. Lower lows, higher highs at which you're going to break out. Now, with that move, I wouldn't necessarily wait for a breakout or breakdown. But what I'm saying is I wouldn't play the breakout or breakdown. Play the rejections off of it, set a stop, and then if it breaks, you know which direction it's going to go with confidence. What subscription would you recommend for Bookmap, Available and access live data in Gex? Well, that's you're mixing and matching there. Bookmap doesn't offer the options chain data, but for live data, it all depends on what you want to trade. I personally use the Global Plus with Rhythmic subscription with the MBO package, but I track many different things. I use all of the indicators. So it really depends on what you want to do. Now for the GEX itself, you could use Traditix, you could use Spot Gamma, there's a number of different products you could use. FTSE. Does that make sense, Kit? On the weekly, it looks a bit like this. Range now, it looks like a bit of an uptrend, but still not the range. Let's take a look at the weekly. Yeah, so the weekly, obviously you zoom back out, it's just, yeah, sitting at the top of the range there. If you want to go all the way back into last year, absolutely. The high, they're dealing with the prior high right now of 8045. And once they clear that, I mean that's your indication there. I wouldn't necessarily long the high here. You're longing at an all-time high level. But if it rejects the broadening formation as well as the high, you'll have a good short entry. And if it takes it out, I mean, at that point, I don't know how high it's going to go. 8028. There we go. Yeah, so keep an eye on it. ES is trying to fill the gap here, 5010. They've got about 8 more points. We still have 5,005 on the gap. We do. We still have 5,005 on the gap. SPX is sitting at 4973. Slowly rounding over. Set a stop on it, Trippy Mike. Don't close it out. Set a stop. We're in a nice little steady downtrend here. We've been downtrending since the morning flip at about 10 o'clock. So, why close it out? Because we don't know what's going to happen here. I would have said it and let it go, baby. The more I learn, the more I realize I know nothing. Monocerebus. Take your hands off of it and let the position do its thing. Couple of bottom wicks on NASDAQ, but still holding down. Let's look at the multiple time frame analysis here. We have engulfing red to start the day off. We have top wick, and now we have another red candle forming on the 30. 15 is pressing down. 5-minute is still pressing down. Still doing it. I like big stops, and I cannot lie. Yeah, buddy. Yeah, buddy. Doji. Let's go take a look at the options data again. It is slow. It's a slow grind down. Not the best for options. Slow grind down. ES is still dropping off here. 5,009, 5,002 will be the gap. But we're holding below the morning low. We've already tested and rejected, so that is a bit of a retest, but it's slow. You're welcome, Iron Will. Appreciate you being here, buddy. Patience, patience, patience. That's right. All right. Still dropping off. 5,008. Another iceberg coming on here. Very small icebergs, but they're there. And they're still gluing down. So ES is pressing down ever so slowly. And IV here is still kind of creeping off just a touch. That's why it's like we're down only a couple of percentage points, but it's still elevated normally, but it's down a couple of percentage from our open. So we have the slow grind move down. IV is rolled off just a touch. It's not the best environment for options, at least not at the moment. And yeah, so we still have 5,005 sitting right up here. And but ES is not bouncing. It's not bouncing. It's still grinding lower. We got another iceberg on at 5,008 with the overall at 5,005. And of course, we still have this cat down here, 49.60. I've been reading like a maniac the past 2 weeks, and things are starting to crystallize more and more. After my research, I will say nothing is more reliable than good old VPA. I'm glad I found it. Your recommendation. Oh, thanks, Mr. 50. I came to the same conclusion, so I'm happy to see that you came to the same conclusion, being an astute mind guy yourself. You're a big brain guy, so I appreciate that. Yeah, NASDAQ, here we go. Looks like they want 17,155. That'll be another 10 points down or so. Pushing lower. All right, still going down here. Nothing but sell side. Nothing but sell side. So I'm tracking the multiple time frame analysis. I'm literally sitting here on that multiple time frame analysis, and I'm seeing nothing but sell side. Like it says, pushing lower, clearing out lower and lower. We do not have any kind of major buy pressure. Taking my morning green and gonna head outside. Nice Twizzy. $17,150. ES again is still grinding into this area. There's no big bounce. You see them? All they're doing is absorbing, like a sponge with water, absorbing liquidity without any kind of major bouncing. Wait for the signs. 12% for the day. Going to take my leave. Nice, Nano. Well done, buddy. You're very welcome. Thanks for being here. 5,006 about to press down again into another iceberg. Very small iceberg. I've stopped redoing my icebergs every day, so I was like, I'm just going to deal with it. Usually they don't even show up till higher, but about to absorb this 5,005. Here we go. So what we'll see here, there's about 600 orders there. We'll breach, we'll have a bottom wick, and then we'll figure out what's going to go here. Got that 5 volume shelf on? Yes, we do. Yep. I love being patient. Me too. Me too. This candle volume is so helpful. How do you like them? I do like it. I like it a lot. It instantly tells me where if there's big movement with volume. So I like it. What's that indicator called? It's not an indicator. If you go up to the top of your, like if you go to trading view, where you can select like Renko, Heiken Ashi, hollow candles, you can. There's a new beta called volume candles, which are awesome. Hey Kennedy, also another thing that could help is that if you have a bias, you have trading view hopefully. If you have a bias in terms of a long or short, then use Alt I If you use the Alt I, it'll inverse your charts and then pick out your support. So if you are biased to the short and we're in a bullish move, then hit Alt I and inverse your charts and tell yourself, would I short at that level? And if the answer is yes, then you buy it because it's inversed. You can also change the color of your candles. Instead of using green and red, or green and red, green for long, red for down, is that change it to one color. Or don't use green and red. Use blue and yellow, or use whatever else. Just change the colors. It's just a couple of little emotional, psychological changes you can make to get away from that. Option I from iMac. There you go. On TradingView, I love it. I think it's a very helpful change. There's nothing wrong with having a natural bias. You just have to learn to play when your bias is not happening on the charts. Learn to adjust. Yeah. $5,005. There you go. Thanks, Dan. I'll probably change color to focus more on the volume. That's what I've done. I changed my charts to blue and red instead of green and red. I don't know if it's made any difference, but I like it. Still going down here. Nvidia's dropping. 5,009. We're going to try to attack this 5,005 again here. Nvidia's rounding back over just a touch. Just a touch. I have another iceberg. I press Alt I and then look at my screen upside down. Seems to help my bias. Stand on your head. Do a handstand press. Handstand push up while you're looking at it. There you go. Nvidia still dropping. Apple still dropping. ES still wants to attack 5,005. Skinny candles means low volume. Correct. Correct. Just like if you have skinny legs, you're probably not doing enough volume on the squat bar. Am I able to share the color code for the blue? Yeah. I can do that. How do I do that? I think this is, here we go. There we go. I figured it out. Where'd you go? There we go. There is the blue. There is the red. You're welcome. What's the purpose of inversing the chart? If you have a natural bias, like if you just like short positions and you're not comfortable longing, or if you just don't see the long setups, then when we are in a bullish market, hit Alt I and just tell yourself, would I short at these levels? And if the answer is yes, then you buy because the chart's inversed. It just help you look at things from a different perspective, because people do have natural bias, which is why I hate the bull bear talk on Twitter, because it's true. People do have natural bias, which is perfectly fine as long as you're mature enough as a trader to trade what you're seeing and not tie in with your bias, which is obviously easier said than done. So Alt I will help you do that. If you like seeing short setups, then when the market's bullish, hit Alt I, and it'll set it up as a bearish setup. So, nice feeling. Appreciate it. I saw Anna Colling has a book on VPA case studies. Have you had a chance to check it out? I think with all your experience, you could put out a book or a set of YouTube content to add to that. Nice. Yeah, I like it. I'll take a look at it. I love it, man. This is why you got to be around like-minded individuals. I got y'all just pumping ideas to me about stuff to read. Yeah, that's right, kid. Did I see her tweet this AM? I did not see any tweets this AM. Let me see. She only has 23,000 followers. She needs way more than that. If she started adding no cap to the end of her tweets, she'd probably have a lot more. You talking about the yields tweet? The one she retweeted? Do I ever trade crude oil? Yes, I do. About no Fed speakers. It's about the Fed blackout period. That's the only one I see about Fed speakers on our Twitter account. Yeah. The retest of the morning low on ES and following inside the little trend here. NASDAQ has a nice little bounce-a-roni. I picked up Anna Colling's VPA book on your recommendation. It's been a great help to actually recognize trends before they happen. Nice. It's a great book. Any idea if TOS has this? I don't know. Does anybody know if TOS has the same inverse chart feature? I personally don't know. How do you determine a good DTE and strike for ES? Yes, TOS does have it. Does anybody know what it is? The minus sign on your keyboard. I see. So you put a minus sign in front of any ticker. So minus sign ES, for example. Russell's putting in a new low. Minus sign Apple, same thing. I see. A little bit of red here after a nice little bounce. NVIDIA, Apple doing its thing. Got my daily goal. Time for paper trading. Nice iron will. Beautiful. How do I determine a good DTE and strike for ES? Well, you formulate your thesis. You go on whatever time frame you want to do your thesis on, and you formulate. Where do I think this is going to go, and how fast theoretically do I think it can get there? And if you're dealing with options, you have to build in time value. So if you think how fast you think you can get there, you add a certain amount of time to build in risk tolerance, and then you select that strike. So if I think ES will get down if I think ES is going to tap 4,900 by next Friday, I'll probably add 2 weeks to that. So I'll say a month from now, 4 weeks instead of 2 weeks, and I'll go in probably 49.50s. That way, if we do get to 4,900, I'll get that delta appreciation, I'll get that GEX spike, or the gamma spike, and the theta won't hit so much so fast.